Hey coin lovers, welcome back to Coins Numismatic Series. Today, we're counting down the top 10 rare and most valuable Lincoln wheat penny coins that every collector and treasure hunter needs to know about. From the historic 1920 issue to the highly collectible 1955 variety, these wheat pennies are packed with history, rarity, and serious value potential. Make sure to watch all the way to number 1, because the top coin on this list might surprise you. Let's get started. The 1920 wheat penny transports us back to an America that was stepping into a new decade. The First World War had ended just 2 years earlier. The economy was shifting, industries were expanding, and the nation was preparing for what would become the Roaring Twenties. Every penny in circulation carried not just purchasing power, but a reflection of a country evolving rapidly. The obverse of the 1920 wheat penny features the right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This portrait was created by Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB are a familiar detail to collectors of early Lincoln cents. By 1920, the Lincoln cent design was already firmly established in American commerce. The reverse displays the iconic wheat ears framing the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Above these words arches E pluribus unum. This simple yet elegant design would continue until 1958, making the wheat penny one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coinage. In 1920, the United States Mint struck Lincoln cents at 3 facilities. Philadelphia produced approximately 310 million coins. Denver struck around 49 million, and San Francisco minted approximately 46 million. While 310 million might seem substantial, survival rates in high grade are significantly lower because these coins circulated heavily during a time when saving pennies was not common practice. The 1920 Philadelphia issue is the most available of the 3, but even so, finding one in uncirculated condition is challenging. In well-worn grades such as good or very good, values typically range from $1 to a few dollars depending on detail. In fine or very fine condition, prices often move into the $5 to $15 range. Extremely fine examples can command $20 to $40. True mint state 1920 pennies are a different story. Brown uncirculated coins often sell for $100 or more depending on grade. Red-brown examples increase in value, and full red mint state coins can reach several hundred to well over $1,000 in higher certified grades. The rarity of vibrant red copper from this era drives serious collector interest. The 1920 D and 1920 S issues are far scarcer. The Denver mintage of 49 million makes it significantly more desirable. In circulated grades, a 1920 D can range from $30 to over $100 depending on where. In mint state, values climb rapidly, often reaching several $100s and moving into 4 figures for premium red specimens. The 1920 S is similarly sought after. San Francisco coins from this era often exhibit weaker strikes, especially in Lincoln's hair and beard. Collectors pay strong premiums for sharply struck examples with crisp wheat lines on the reverse. In high mint state red condition, these coins can command impressive auction prices due to limited surviving populations. Error varieties add another layer of intrigue. Off-center strikes from 1920 are highly collectible, particularly when the date remains visible. Lamination errors, caused by impurities in the metal strip, appear occasionally and can increase value significantly. Clipped planchet errors are also known and draw strong interest from error specialists. Strike quality is an important value factor. Many 1920 wheat pennies show softness in Lincoln's hair above the ear and in the reverse wheat stalks. Coins displaying sharp detail in these areas are often graded higher and achieve stronger prices. Color plays a defining role. Copper naturally oxidizes over time, so full red examples are scarce. A blazing red 1920 penny is a true condition rarity and often becomes the centerpiece of advanced Lincoln collections. Collector interest in the 1920 wheat penny remains strong because it represents an early-era issue that combines historical charm with genuine scarcity and high grades. As more collectors compete for top-quality examples, prices continue to reflect strong demand. The 1935 wheat penny 1 cent coin, fast forward 15 years and America is facing a completely different reality. The 1935 wheat penny was struck during the Great Depression, a time when economic hardship defined daily life. President Franklin D. Roosevelt was leading recovery efforts through New Deal programs, and even a single cent carried significant importance in everyday transactions. The design of the 1935 wheat penny remained consistent with earlier issues. The obverse still featured Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse continued to display the twin wheat ears that had become a symbol of American coinage stability. In 1935, Philadelphia struck approximately 245 million cents. Denver produced around 47 million, and San Francisco minted roughly 38 million. Compared to the 1920 issues, the mintages were lower overall, but survival in higher grades is somewhat better because collectors had begun saving coins more intentionally by the mid-1930s. Circulated 1935 Philadelphia pennies are generally affordable, often valued between 50 cents and a few dollars depending on where. In fine and very fine grades, they can reach $5 to $10. Extremely fine examples bring slightly higher premiums. In mint state brown condition, a 1935 penny may sell for $20 to $50 depending on grade. Red-brown examples can approach $75 to $100. Fully red mint state coins are significantly more valuable, often exceeding $100 and reaching several hundred in MS66 or higher. The 1935 D is more desirable due to its lower mintage. Circulated examples often range from $10 to $40. Mint state coins can climb into the low hundreds, with premium red examples reaching several $100 depending on certification and eye appeal. The 1935 S is another key issue from this year. San Francisco coins from the 1930s frequently show slightly weaker strikes. Collectors value sharp detail in Lincoln's hair and complete wheat lines. In higher mint state red grades, the 1935 S can command impressive prices, sometimes exceeding $500 in top condition. Error varieties for 1935 include double dies, though they are typically subtle. Repunched mint marks are known for the Denver and San Francisco issues. These RPM varieties show traces of a secondary mint mark impression and can bring solid premiums when authenticated. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, and lamination errors also appear in 1935 production. Because fewer coins were struck compared to later decades, dramatic errors from this year are scarcer and can achieve strong auction results. Color designation remains crucial. Brown examples are most common. Red-brown coins carry moderate premiums. Fully red coins with vibrant luster are the most desirable and often attract registry-level competition among collectors. The historical significance of the 1935 wheat penny adds emotional weight to its appeal. This coin circulated during one of the most challenging periods in American history. It passed through the hands of citizens enduring economic uncertainty, making it a tangible connection to that era. Collector demand for 1935 wheat pennies remains steady, particularly for high-grade red examples and scarce mint varieties. As population reports reveal limited numbers at the highest grades, competition continues to push prices upward for elite specimens. And that is the enduring magic of wheat pennies. Small in size, immense in history, and always capable of surprising those who take the time to look a little closer. The 1936 wheat penny 1-cent coin. The year 1936 sits right in the heart of the Great Depression recovery era. America was still rebuilding. Industries were slowly regaining strength, and confidence was cautiously returning to the economy under the leadership of Franklin D. Roosevelt. Every coin in circulation during this period carried purchasing power that mattered deeply in daily life. The 1936 wheat penny is more than a copper cent. It is a quiet witness to a nation climbing back from economic hardship. The obverse of the 1936 wheat penny features the familiar right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner and first introduced in 1909, this portrait was revolutionary for American coinage because it marked the first time a real historical figure appeared on a regularly circulating U.S. coin. By 1936, the Lincoln design had already been a steady presence in American pockets for over a quarter century. On the reverse, two stylized wheat stalks framed the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum arching above. This wheat design, often referred to simply as the wheat reverse, symbolized agricultural prosperity and national unity. It would continue until 1958, making coins like the 1936 a classic representative of the series. In 1936, the United States Mint struck Lincoln cents at 3 facilities. Philadelphia produced approximately 309 million coins. The Denver Mint in Denver struck about 40 million pieces, while the San Francisco Mint in San Francisco produced roughly 29 million. These mintage figures create an interesting hierarchy of availability. The 1936 Philadelphia issue is the most common of the 3. In heavily circulated condition, it can still be found for under $1. In fine or very fine grades, values typically range from $2 to $5. Extremely fine examples may command $10 to $15 depending on eye appeal. The real jump in value begins in mint state. Brown uncirculated coins often trade in the $20 to $40 range depending on grade. Red-brown examples carry higher premiums, sometimes reaching $50 to $75. Fully red mint state coins, particularly those graded MS65 or higher, can easily exceed $100 and climb into several hundred for superb gem examples. At MS67 red, auction prices have reached well beyond that, reflecting true condition rarity. The 1936 D is significantly scarcer due to its lower mintage of around 40 million. In circulated grades, values often range from $10 to $30 depending on condition. Extremely fine examples may approach $50. Mint state coins are considerably more valuable, with brown examples often exceeding $100 and full red specimens reaching several hundred to over $1,000 in the highest certified grades. The 1936 S is the lowest mintage of the year and particularly desirable. Circulated examples generally sell between $10 and $40. In mint state, the premiums become substantial. Brown uncirculated coins may bring $100 to $200, while red examples in high grades can approach or surpass the $1,000 mark when eye appeal and strike quality are exceptional. Strike quality is an essential value factor for 1936 cents. San Francisco coins in particular may exhibit weaker strikes in Lincoln's hair and beard. Collectors carefully examine the detail above Lincoln's ear and the wheat lines on the reverse. Sharp, well-defined examples command stronger premiums. The 1936 issue is also notable for important proof coinage. The Philadelphia Mint produced proof Lincoln cents in 1936, marking the first year proofs were issued after a long hiatus that began in 1916. Approximately 5,569 proof cents were struck. These coins display mirror-like fields and sharp detail. In high grades, especially with full red color, 1936 proof cents can command several $1,000s, making them one of the most desirable coins of the 1930s. Error varieties further increase collector interest. Double-die obverse examples are known for 1936, particularly showing noticeable doubling in the date and inscriptions. These varieties are highly sought after and can bring significant premiums depending on the strength of the doubling and overall condition. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and lamination errors are known as well. Because the 1936 mintage is moderate, dramatic errors are less common and often command strong prices at auction. Collector interest in the 1936 wheat penny remains strong for multiple reasons. It represents a key recovery-era coin, includes the reintroduction of proof issues, and offers real scarcity in high mint state red grades. For those building complete wheat penny sets, 1936 is a crucial date that blends accessibility in circulated grades with true rarity at the top end. The 1937 wheat penny 1-cent coin. The 1937 wheat penny continues the story of America's gradual economic recovery. Industrial production was strengthening, employment was improving, and optimism was slowly returning. Coins struck during this year circulated widely in a nation eager to move beyond hardship. The obverse design remains the dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln by Victor David Brenner. The simplicity of the design allowed it to endure through decades of political and economic change. The reverse retains the twin wheat stalk motif, framing the central denomination and country name. In 1937, the United States Mint struck Lincoln cents in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia produced approximately 309 million coins. Denver struck about 50 million, and San Francisco minted roughly 34.5 million pieces. Mint State Brown examples generally trade between $15 and $30 depending on grade. Red Brown examples may approach $50. Fully red Mint State coins are the most desirable, often selling between $100 and $300 in MS65 and climbing higher in MS66 and MS67. Strike sharpness plays a vital role in 1937 valuations. Collectors focus on Lincoln's hair detail and the wheat stalk lines. Weak strikes reduce desirability, while crisp, fully detailed coins command stronger competition among buyers. The 1937 issue also includes proof coinage from Philadelphia. Approximately 9,320 proof cents were struck. These proof coins exhibit brilliant mirror surfaces and sharp detail. In high-grade red condition, 1937 proof cents often command prices ranging from $1,000 to several $1,000s, depending on certification and eye appeal. Error collectors find the 1937 wheat penny appealing due to known double dies and repunched mint marks. Double die obverse examples can display noticeable doubling in the date and lettering. Repunched mint marks on Denver and San Francisco coins add another layer of collectability. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, and lamination errors are also present. Dramatic examples with strong visual impact are especially desirable and can bring substantial premiums. Color designation once again determines value tiers. Brown coins are most common. Red-brown coins occupy the middle ground. Fully red coins with blazing luster and minimal spotting are the most coveted. Even minor carbon spots can significantly reduce value in higher grades. Collector demand for the 1937 wheat penny remains steady because it offers a balance of availability and rarity. It is attainable in circulated grades for beginners, yet challenging in superb gem red condition for advanced collectors. The presence of proof issues and recognized varieties further enhances its importance within the wheat penny series. For collectors today, they represent not just copper in design, but living history. And in the highest grades, they remain powerful reminders that even coins struck in the millions can become genuinely rare when preserved in extraordinary condition. The 1944 wheat penny 1-cent coin. The 1944 wheat penny stands as one of the most fascinating issues in the entire Lincoln cent series, born directly out of World War II necessity. To understand why this coin is so important, we must go back to 1943. During that year, copper was desperately needed for wartime ammunition and military equipment. The United States Mint struck pennies in zinc-coated steel instead of the traditional bronze alloy. Those 1943 steel cents became instantly recognizable for their silver-gray appearance. But in 1944, the mint returned to a copper-based composition. However, this was not simply a return to pre-war metal. The 1944 wheat penny was struck using recycled shell casings from military training ranges. The bronze alloy was composed primarily of reclaimed wartime brass, making these coins literal pieces of battlefield history transformed into everyday currency. The design of the 1944 wheat penny remains the iconic work of Victor David Brenner. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln faces right, calm and resolute. Above him, the motto "I in God we trust" arches along the rim. To the left, liberty is boldly struck. To the right, the date 1944 appears, with or without a mint mark depending on the facility of origin. Philadelphia issues carry no mint mark, while Denver features a small D and San Francisco an S beneath the date. The reverse displays the classic twin wheat ears framing the denomination 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum centered at the top. By 1944, this design had been in use for 35 years and had become deeply associated with American resilience and identity. In terms of mintage, the 1944 wheat penny was produced in enormous numbers. Philadelphia struck over 1.4 billion pieces, Denver over 430 million, and San Francisco over 280 million. Combined, that makes the 1944 issue one of the highest mintage wheat cents of the entire series. In ordinary circulated grades, these coins are extremely common and often worth only a small premium over face value. But here is where the story turns extraordinary. The 1944 wheat penny is famous for one of the most dramatic mint errors in American numismatics history, the 1944 steel cent. A small number of leftover steel planchets from 1943 were accidentally fed into the coin presses in 1944. The result was a 1944 dated penny struck in steel instead of bronze. These coins look like the 1943 steel cents, but bear the date 1944. Genuine 1944 steel cents are incredibly rare. Only a handful are known from each mint. When authenticated, these coins have sold for staggering amounts. Examples have reached well into the six-figure range at auction, making them some of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever produced. Because of this, counterfeit and altered examples are common, often created by copperplating steel cents or altering the date on a 1943 coin. Serious collectors rely on professional authentication to confirm legitimacy. Another famous rarity is the 1944 D struck on a steel planchet. This version is even scarcer than the Philadelphia issue. The rarity and wartime context create a powerful combination that fuels intense collector demand. Beyond steel errors, the 1944 wheat penny also features transitional errors in the opposite direction. A few bronze planchets from 1944 were mistakenly used in 1943, and vice versa, creating one of the most studied error transitions in U.S. coinage. The 1944 bronze is standard, but off-metal errors, such as those struck on experimental planchets, add another dimension of rarity. Condition also plays a major role in value. While circulated examples are common, uncirculated coins with full original red luster are increasingly difficult to find. Over decades, many were spent, mishandled, or stored improperly. In mint state grades of MS65 red or higher, values rise significantly. Exceptional examples graded MS67 red can command hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on eye appeal and population reports. Strike quality varies by mint. San Francisco coins sometimes exhibit weaker strikes, particularly in the wheat lines on the reverse. Sharp detail in the wheat kernels and strong luster enhance desirability. Collectors assembling registry sets compete fiercely for top population pieces, pushing prices upward for coins at the highest certified grades. The 1944 wheat penny represents more than just a coin. It represents transformation. Wartime metal turned into peacetime currency. A symbol of national sacrifice repurposed into daily commerce. For collectors, it offers accessibility in circulated form and breathtaking rarity in era varieties. It is a coin that bridges commonality and legend. The 1945 wheat penny 1-cent coin. The 1945 wheat penny carries the final full year of World War II within its date. By this time, Allied forces were advancing in Europe and the Pacific, and America's industrial machine was operating at maximum capacity. The penny struck in 1945 circulated during a year that would witness the end of global conflict and the beginning of a new world order. The design remains the same Brenner portrait and wheat reverse that had defined American 1-cent coinage since 1909. Lincoln's profile remains dignified and steady, symbolizing unity during uncertain times. In God We Trust crowns the obverse, liberty anchors the left field, and the date 1945 sits to the right, accompanied by mintmarks D or S for Denver and San Francisco, while Philadelphia once again bears no mintmark. The composition of the 1945 wheat penny returned fully to the bronze alloy derived from recycled wartime materials. Copper was becoming more available as the war drew to a close, but the legacy of shell casing metal remained embedded in these coins. Mintage figures for 1945 were again massive. Philadelphia produced over 1 billion coins, Denver over 266 million, and San Francisco over 181 million. Like the 1944 issue, circulated examples are common and affordable. However, scarcity emerges in higher grades and in specific era varieties. One of the most sought-after varieties in 1945 is the double die obverse, particularly on the Philadelphia issue. While not as dramatic as the famous 1955 double die, certain 1945 double dies show noticeable doubling in the date and lettering. These varieties attract strong interest from era collectors and can command substantial premiums depending on the strength of doubling and condition. Repunched mint marks are another area of fascination, especially for 1945 D and 1945 S coins. Under magnification, Collectors sometimes discover secondary impressions of the mint mark beneath the primary D or S, evidence of the manual mint mark punching process used at the time. Clear RPM varieties can add meaningful value to an otherwise common coin. Die cracks, cuds, and lamination errors are also present in 1945 cents. Wartime production pressures sometimes led to extended die use, resulting in late die state coins with heavy flow lines and surface distortions. These characteristics provide insight into mint operations during one of the busiest periods in U.S. history. In terms of market value, circulated 1945 wheat pennies typically range from a few cents to $1, depending on condition. However, mint state red examples tell a different story. In grades of MS66 or MS67 red, prices can climb into the high hundreds or more, especially for coins with exceptional luster and minimal contact marks. The San Francisco issue is often more challenging to locate in gem condition due to strike softness. Strongly struck examples with crisp wheat detail and blazing red color are especially desirable. Denver coins, while plentiful, also become condition rarities at the highest certified grades. Collector interest in the 1945 wheat penny is fueled by its historical timing. These coins were in pockets when victory was declared in Europe and Japan. They were present at ticker tape parades, war bond drives, and homecoming celebrations. Holding one today connects collectors directly to that transformative year. The 1945 issue may not boast the dramatic steel error fame of 1944, but its combination of doubled dies, mint mark varieties, high-grade scarcity, and profound historical context ensures enduring demand. For beginners, it offers affordability and accessibility. For advanced collectors, it presents the challenge of locating pristine, fully read, sharply struck examples or scarce variety errors. Together, the 1944 and 1945 wheat pennies form a powerful wartime pair. One represents the dramatic transition from steel back to bronze and the rarest off-metal mistakes in Lincoln cent history. The other captures the closing chapter of global conflict and the subtle varieties that reward careful study. Both prove that even the smallest denomination in American coinage can carry immense historical weight and surprising financial potential. These coins are more than 1 cent. They are stories of industry, resilience, error, and opportunity. And somewhere out there, one could still be waiting to be discovered. 1946 wheat penny 1 cent coin. The 1946 wheat penny emerges in a period of profound change in America. World War II had ended just a year earlier, and the nation was adjusting to peacetime, with soldiers returning home and the economy shifting from war production to consumer goods. This coin embodies that transition, serving as everyday currency while quietly carrying the legacy of wartime metals. Victor David Brenner's iconic Lincoln portrait continues to grace the obverse. Lincoln faces right with his expression calm, yet resolute, a symbol of unity and perseverance. "In God We Trust" is inscribed above his head, liberty to the left, and the date 1946 to the right. For the Denver Mint issues, a small d appears beneath the date, while San Francisco coins bear an S. Philadelphia coins, as always, carry no mint mark, a subtle but important distinction for collectors. The reverse retains the classic wheat cent design. Twin ears of wheat frame the denomination 1 cent and the inscription United States of America, with E pluribus unum centered at the top. By 1946, this design was a familiar part of American life, circulating through grocery stores, theaters, banks, and post offices. The wheat ears not only represented agricultural strength, but also evoked continuity and stability in a nation still recovering from wartime disruption. The composition returned fully to the bronze alloy, a mixture of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This gives the coin its characteristic reddish-brown color, which becomes a crucial factor in collector valuation. Freshly minted coins often display a bright red luster, but circulation and environmental exposure gradually darken surfaces to red-brown or brown tones. Numismatists classify these as RD, RB, and BN, and the color can dramatically affect market value, especially in uncirculated coins. Mintage figures for 1946 were substantial, but slightly lower than the massive wartime peaks. Philadelphia struck approximately 1.35 billion coins, Denver produced around 187 million, and San Francisco roughly 78 million. These numbers make 1946 pennies common in circulated grades, yet high-grade mint state examples are significantly more scarce. Coins preserved in MS-65 red or higher are increasingly difficult to find, particularly from the San Francisco Mint, known for softer strikes during this period. Error coins add an extra layer of fascination. While 1946 lacks a singularly famous steel or off-metal variety like 1944, subtle doubled dies, die cracks, die chips, and repunched mint marks exist. RPM collectors focus on the D and S mint marks, examining minute impressions and secondary punches. Die cracks sometimes extend across the wheat ears or into the fields, creating unique pieces that fetch premiums. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and lamination errors occasionally appear, giving visual appeal and rarity to otherwise ordinary coins. Market value for 1946 wheat pennies is highly condition-dependent. In circulated grades, coins are generally worth only a few cents above face value, making them accessible to new collectors. However, uncirculated red examples in MS-65 or higher can command prices from $20 to $100, while superb MS-66 or MS-67 red coins, particularly from the Denver or San Francisco mints, can reach several $100s. Eye appeal, luster, and strike quality heavily influence premiums, with collectors willing to pay more for coins that combine a sharp strike with vibrant color. Collector interest is fueled by both historical context and numismatic challenge. The 1946 wheat penny represents post-war America's return to economic growth and industrial stability. It is widely available for beginners, yet offers scarcity in high-grade examples or error varieties for advanced collectors. Registries set enthusiasts value it for completing chronological Lincoln cent collections, while error collectors prize the subtle die and mint mark variations. 1947 wheat penny 1 cent coin. The 1947 wheat penny represents another year of post-war America, now moving steadily into prosperity. Soldiers were returning from occupation duty overseas, industry was booming, and everyday life in the United States was changing rapidly. In coinage, the Lincoln wheat design remained a consistent touchstone, symbolizing continuity, resilience, and historical legacy. The obverse features the enduring Lincoln portrait by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln faces right, dignified and composed. In God we trust arcs above his head, liberty sits to the left, and the date 1947 appears to the right. Denver Mint issues carry a small D beneath the date. San Francisco coins an S, and Philadelphia coins again have no mint mark. The date placement and mint mark identification are crucial for collectors because the subtle differences impact both rarity and value. The reverse shows the familiar twin wheat stalks, framing the denomination 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum at the top. By 1947, the design was deeply embedded in American consciousness, circulating widely while retaining its artistic charm. The wheat stalks, simple yet evocative, symbolize the nation's continued prosperity and reliance on agricultural strength even as industrialization accelerated. The coin composition remained bronze, 95% copper, and 5% tin and zinc. The reddish hue of freshly minted coins makes high-grade examples visually striking. Collectors differentiate RD, red, RB, red-brown, and BN, brown, coins, and even small differences in surface quality can mean significant differences in market value. Mintage for 1947 was slightly lower than 1946, reflecting stabilization in post-war coin production. Philadelphia produced roughly 1.1 billion coins, Denver approximately 210 million, and San Francisco around 97 million. This makes 1947 pennies common in circulated condition, but, like the previous year, high-grade uncirculated examples are much more scarce and valuable. 1947 features interesting error varieties that attract collector attention. Doubled dies, particularly subtle ones affecting the date and lettering, appear occasionally, though none reach the dramatic status of mid-century issues like the 1955 doubled die. Repunched mint marks on 1947, D and 1947. S coins are also of interest, Collectors examine these under magnification to identify secondary impressions and faint doubling. Die cracks, lamination errors, clipped planchets, and off-center strikes are present, adding visual intrigue and rarity to certain examples. Market value for 1947 wheat pennies depends heavily on condition and mint. Circulated coins typically trade for a few cents over face value, but uncirculated red examples are highly desirable. MS-65 red coins from Philadelphia or Denver can reach $20 to $50, while superior MS-66 or MS-67 red coins, especially from the San Francisco Mint, may sell for hundreds. Collectors also pay attention to eye appeal and strike quality, with fully struck wheat ears and bold lettering fetching premiums. Collector interest is strong due to both historical context and numismatic challenges. The 1947 wheat penny represents the stabilization and prosperity of post-war America. Beginners can find affordable examples, while advanced collectors seek high-grade coins or subtle varieties to complete registry sets. Error collectors focus on doubled dies, RPMs, and minor striking anomalies, ensuring that even a common date coin offers excitement and discovery. Together, the 1946 and 1947 wheat pennies illustrate the evolution of the Lincoln cent in the immediate post-war era. They combine historical significance, subtle variations, and opportunities for high-grade and error collecting, demonstrating that even small cents can carry tremendous historical and financial weight. From the recycled wartime metals of 1946 to the continued precision and artistry of 1947, these coins connect collectors directly to a transformative era in American history, while still offering the thrill of potential discovery hidden in ordinary circulation. 1952 D-Wheat Penny 1 cent coin. The 1952 D-Wheat penny was struck at the Denver Mint, a facility with a long history of producing large-scale coinage for the western United States. This coin represents a post-war America that was expanding economically, industrially, and socially. The population was growing, automobiles were becoming ubiquitous, and the nation was entering a period of prosperity that would define the 1950s. The coins of this era circulated widely in daily commerce, quietly bearing witness to these changes. The obverse features the classic Victor David Brenner portrait of Abraham Lincoln, facing right. In God We Trust arches along the rim above Lincoln's head. Liberty is placed to the left, and the date 1952 is to the right, with the small d mint mark beneath it signifying Denver. This small detail carries major significance for collectors, as mint marks influence rarity, value, and desirability. Philadelphia coins from the same year bear no mint mark, while San Francisco coins carry an S. The 1952 D is often noted for its slightly weaker strikes compared to Philadelphia examples, which affects detail in Lincoln's hair, jawline, and beard. Sharp strikes are especially prized among collectors seeking top-grade specimens. The reverse continues the familiar wheat cent design. Twin wheat stalks frame the denomination 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum centered at the top. Denver strikes from this period sometimes exhibit softer wheat detail, particularly along the inner stalk lines. Coins with well-defined kernels and crisp lettering are highly desirable, commanding a premium in uncirculated grades. In terms of composition, the 1952 D-Wheat penny uses the standard post-war bronze alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This mixture gives the coin its characteristic reddish hue when fresh from the press. Over time, circulation and oxidation produce red-brown or brown surfaces, which collectors classify as RD, RB, or BN. Surface color has a significant effect on market value, especially in mint state coins, where vibrant red luster is most sought after. The mintage for the 1952 D was extraordinarily high. Over 746 million coins were struck. Despite this large number, fully preserved, high-grade examples are considerably rarer than the sheer mintage suggests. Circulated coins are common and inexpensive, often worth only a few cents above face value. However, uncirculated examples with full red color, minimal contact marks, and strong strikes are more challenging to locate and thus highly collectible. Error coins add an exciting layer for collectors. While the 1952 D lacks headline-grabbing double dies like the famous 1955 DDO. Subtle varieties exist. Repunched mint marks are occasionally found, showing faint secondary impressions of the D beneath the primary mint mark. Die cracks, die chips, and cuds sometimes appear along the rim or in the fields, producing coins with distinctive visual characteristics. Off-center strikes and clipped planchets also exist, though less frequently, adding additional collectible value. Lamination errors occasionally occur, reflecting minor flaws in the alloy or planchet during production. Market value is heavily dependent on condition. In circulated grades, the 1952 D-Wheat penny is extremely affordable, typically worth only a few cents above face. In about uncirculated grades, prices rise slightly, and collectors might pay a few dollars for coins showing partial luster. Uncirculated red examples graded MS65 can range from $20 to $50, while MS66 or higher coins, particularly those with strong strikes and eye appeal, can reach several $100s. Color, strike quality, and surface preservation are critical determinants of value, often more than the mintage itself. Collector interest in the 1952 D-Wheat penny is strong for several reasons. First, it is part of the beloved wheat cent series, which many collectors attempt to complete from 1909 through 1958. Second, it illustrates subtle differences in strikes, mint mark placement, and surface preservation between mints, offering a nuanced challenge for advanced collectors. Third, it provides an accessible entry point for beginners, with circulated examples available for a few cents, while high-grade, fully read coins reward careful searching, purchasing, or grading. The 1952 D also fits into broader registry set strategies. Advanced collectors assembling high-grade sets of Lincoln cents must locate the finest Denver Mint specimens to compete effectively. The coin's high mintage does not prevent scarcity in the top numerical grades, making it a target for collectors seeking registry accolades or investment-grade pieces. In summary, the 1952 D-Wheat penny is far more than a small piece of copper in circulation. It is a product of post-war American industry, a testament to the enduring Lincoln wheat design, and a coin that offers multiple layers of interest, from everyday circulated examples to high-grade red specimens and subtle minting errors. Its combination of historical context, design appeal, and collectible rarity ensures that it remains an essential piece in any serious wheat cent collection, proving once again that even a single cent can carry extraordinary value. The 1955 wheat penny 1 cent coin. Few coins in American numismatics generate instant excitement, quite like the 1955 wheat penny. At first glance, it appears to be just another mid-1950s Lincoln cent, struck during a period of post-war prosperity and economic growth. But beneath its simple copper surface lies one of the most famous and dramatic mint errors in United States history, a variety that transformed an ordinary 1 cent coin into a legendary collectible. The year 1955 was a time of confidence and expansion in America. The nation was in the heart of the post-World War II boom. Highways were expanding, suburbs were rising, and consumer culture was flourishing under the presidency of Dwight D. Eisenhower. Coins were in heavy demand for vending machines, transit systems, and everyday commerce. The United States Mint was striking cents at high speed to meet circulation needs. The obverse of the 1955 wheat penny features the familiar right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Above Lincoln's head is "I in God We Trust." Liberty appears to the left, and the date 1955 is positioned to the right. The reverse displays the classic twin wheat stalks framing 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum arching above. In 1955, Lincoln cents were struck at 2 primary mints for circulation. Philadelphia produced approximately 330 million cents, while the Denver Mint in Denver struck around 563 million coins. At face value, these are substantial mintages, suggesting common availability. And for most 1955 cents, that is true. Standard circulated examples from either mint typically trade for only a few cents to $1, depending on condition. However, the 1955 Philadelphia issue includes what is arguably the most famous double die obverse error in U.S. coinage history. The 1955 double die obverse was created during the die manufacturing process. When the working die received its impressions from the hub, the alignment between impressions was dramatically offset. As a result, strong and unmistakable doubling appeared on the date and inscriptions. The words "Liberty" and "I in God We Trust," along with the date 1955, display bold, separated doubling visible even without magnification. Unlike minor doubling seen on many coins, the 1955 double die is dramatic and unmistakable. Letters appear clearly doubled and slightly shifted. The effect is so strong that it immediately catches the eye, even to non-collectors. It is estimated that approximately 20,000 to 24,000 examples of the 1955 double die entered circulation before the error was noticed. Because the coins were mixed into general circulation, many were spent and heavily worn before collectors realized what had happened. Today, surviving examples are far fewer, particularly in higher grades. In circulated condition, a genuine 1955 double die typically sells for well over $1,000. Even heavily worn examples can command prices between $1,000 and $2,000 depending on detail. In very fine to extremely fine condition, values often range from $2,000 to $4,000. Uncirculated examples are exponentially more valuable. Mint state brown specimens frequently sell for $5,000 to $10,000 depending on grade. Red-brown examples increase further, and fully red mint state coins have reached auction prices exceeding $20,000 in high grades. Superb gem red examples have sold for significantly more, making this one of the most valuable non-rare date Lincoln cents in the series. The popularity of the 1955 double die has led to widespread counterfeiting and alteration attempts. Some individuals attempt to simulate doubling through mechanical alteration or by adding a second date impression. As a result, authentication by reputable grading services is strongly recommended for any suspected example. Aside from the famous double die, standard 1955 Philadelphia cents without doubling are common. In circulated condition, they are generally worth a small premium over face value. In mint state brown grades, values may range from $10 to $20. Red examples can reach $50 to $100 in MS65, and higher grades may exceed that. The 1955 D, struck in Denver, does not include the dramatic double die variety. However, it remains collectible in high mint state red grades. Circulated 1955 D cents are typically worth only modest premiums. Uncirculated brown examples may trade between $5 and $15, while red examples in MS65 can reach $50 or more. In MS67 red, prices can climb into the several $100 range due to condition rarity. Strike quality for 1955 cents is generally strong, but high-speed production sometimes resulted in minor softness in Lincoln's hair or the wheat lines. Collectors seek sharply struck examples with full detail and vibrant luster. Color designation once again plays a crucial role in valuation. Copper coins naturally tone from red to brown over time. Fully red coins, especially those free from carbon spots and contact marks, are far scarcer and significantly more valuable. Error collectors also pursue additional 1955 varieties, including minor double dies, repunched mint marks on Denver issues, and off-center strikes. While none rival the fame of the major double die, they add diversity to the year's collectible landscape. The 1955 double die became widely known shortly after its discovery. News of the dramatic error spread quickly among collectors, and the coin gained national attention. It became one of the first modern error coins to achieve widespread popularity, paving the way for future interest in varieties such as the 1972 and 1995 double dies. Collector interest in the 1955 wheat penny remains exceptionally strong. For many enthusiasts, owning a genuine 1955 double die represents a milestone achievement. It is often considered a centerpiece coin in any Lincoln cent collection. Beyond its monetary value, the 1955 double die carries cultural significance within the hobby. It demonstrated that mint errors could be both dramatic and highly valuable. It also showed that attentive collectors could identify rare varieties in everyday pocket change. Even today, decades after its discovery, The 1955 double die remains one of the most searched for coins among roll hunters and collectors. Its bold doubling makes it one of the easiest major varieties to identify visually, adding to its appeal. The standard 1955 issues, while common, still represent the final years of the wheat penny design, which would be replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial Reverse. As part of the broader wheat series, 1955 holds both historical and transitional significance. In the end, the 1955 wheat penny stands as a perfect example of how a single minting mistake can transform an ordinary coin into a legendary rarity. Billions of wheat pennies were struck over 5 decades, but only one year produced a double die so bold, so unmistakable, and so valuable. For collectors, it represents excitement, opportunity, and the enduring thrill of discovery. A small copper coin, born in a year of prosperity, forever remembered because of a striking mistake that changed the course of modern coin collecting.